Good morning. Waiting for this thing to activate. Sorry. There we are. Okay, is it not notifying? Let's see. Thumbs up if you've got audio. There we go. Good morning, Judy. Let's see you're here.
Уважно слухайте повідомлення Департаменту з питань цивільного захисту Львівської облдержадміністрації. Увага! Говорить Департамент з питань цивільного захисту Львівської обласної державної адміністрації. Громадяни, від дій повітряної тривоги усі вернутись до місць роботи або проживання. Допоможіть у цьому хворим та людям похилого віку. Будьте готові до можливого повторного нападу противника. Завжди майте з собою засоби індивідуального захисту. Уважно слухайте повідомлення Департаменту з питань цивільного захисту Львівської облдержадміністрації. Увага! Говорить Департамент з питань цивільного захисту Львівської обласної державної адміністрації. Громадяни.
Good morning, everybody. We have had another day of waking up to terrorism from the Russian Federation. As you see here, it is currently 7:25 in the morning, and it is still underway. Some of it is beginning to quiet down in the rest of the country as the drones continue to move west towards Lviv. And a reminder that Russia has not shown any interest in stopping its terrorism. In fact, yesterday Zelensky said that this was coming. This is not the big attack yet. Pardon me. So instead of waking up to getting into certain other tasks that I want to do for the day, which we will do in a bit, had to wake up to another morning of terrorism, and it's not going to stop. It's it is not their way, but also I'm going to go through some of the possibilities of reports here, see what we've got. Um, Worked a little bit last night on trying to improve this platform so we can do some calls. Got a little bit of success on it. Got a few other bugs that I want to work out because it's going to take a bit. 1 minute. That's an all clear for Kyiv coming in. All right. So again, thank you for joining so far. Give me a moment while I just kind of let some people know that we're live and out there. There we go. And this morning, um, it didn't take long for Donald Trump to show up in the news again. That Donald Trump wants to extort Ukraine. Headline: U.S. President issues warning to Ukraine ahead of Geneva talks. RBC. U.S. President Donald Trump expects Kyiv to play an active role in upcoming negotiations process in Geneva. The talks are scheduled for February 17th and 18th and will address security-related issues, according to the White House on its YouTube channel. Um, Again, look at the fucking map. If I have to, I'll go through 4 years of terrorism uh, coverage I've done here, where I can show you building after building being destroyed by Russian terrorists. And over again, Donald Trump can only seem to do one thing, which is to terrorize the victims of terrorism. And I'm glad you're seeing at least that the map is beginning to turn off. That means for right now, all that means right now is that those particular districts have called all clear, that there are no further drones in the area. But in response to the question, Donald Trump emphasized the importance of upcoming talks and said Ukraine should join the dialogue as soon as possible. He made it clear that Washington is counting on such a step from Kyiv and considers the participation of the Ukrainian side as a necessary element of the further process. The Ukrainian delegation has arrived in Geneva to participate in the next round of trilateral negotiations. When did Ukraine not join? I mean, this is getting fucking nuts, folks. And the cowards like Lindsey Graham and the folks who come here to Ukraine to talk tough in favor of Ukraine, going to send tomahawks, going to do this, going to do that. Where are they? Look at how we woke up. Now, actually, when I woke up just a little bit ago and I fired this broadcast up quickly, um, we had an entire map red, coast to coast, if you will. And as you see, still in the west, they're not done yet. It's good news that a lot of the map is beginning to alleviate, but you see in Chernihiv, right now, it's still lit up. Odessa was lit up. We actually have a report I'll bring to you in a second. Drone attack. Russian drones hit Odessa apartment building. 2 injured. On the night of February 17th, Russia launched an attack in Odessa using drone strikes. Unmanned aircraft flew at very low altitudes, and the first explosions occurred before the air sirens were sounded. And during the overnight assault, key infrastructure facility and several civilian buildings were damaged. One district, a fire broke out on the upper floors of a residential high rise, engulfing part of the building. Firefighters and emergency responders arrived promptly to contain the blaze and assist those affected. Casualty reports, preliminary reports indicate 2 people were injured. They are receiving medical care, and additional condition is being monitored. First explosions occurred suddenly with no warning or indication of incoming enemy attack. Monitoring channels soon reported drones approaching the city at very low altitudes, etc. So, um, you know, been at this a while, and I feel that when it comes to good morning to the friends joining us, by the way, as I still try to get the live reporting the way we want to do it. And instead of using the phone where I basically sit in front of it and kind of fire this little sucker up on the tripod, we're going to do as Shaun and I plan on doing, making sure you have real-time graphics ability to see what's going on. So thank you for your patience as we wire that in. And especially because we know that this is not done yet. As a result of the attack, this is still in Odessa. As a result of the attack, there was a store completely destroyed by fire, a cosmetology salon, a garage cooperative, and a shrapnel strike on a multi-story residential building. Additional impacts remain unknown. So, um, what else? Rubio. I wrote a post about Rubio yesterday. Rubio states that U.S. is not forcing anyone to accept a deal on Ukraine. Why? Why are you not forcing Russia to stop the fucking terrorism? Look at the map. Okay? The entire country woke up full red, border to border, from an expected attack that was met with demands from Donald Trump on President's Day, no less. President of what? Because this is bullshit, folks. We know this. This is let me see here. I can see the chat. Get some friends in here. Thank you for joining as well. But we clearly see that this is why I wanted to make sure we have an active map when we go on. Anytime I go live, whatever the map is active always. I don't. It's a straight browser to the alarm, airalarm.com map, which is essentially the same thing as we have here, um, and how we wake up every morning. In addition to the sounds of booms outside. Now, here where I'm at in Kyiv, on the left bank, otherwise known as the east side of the river, um, heard just a moderate amount of air defense trying to chase drones last night. But what we see right now is that you can tell that they're going to the west. They're looking for bases out there, logistical supply line routes, and we can tell that even though, yes, they hit civilian infrastructure and civilian buildings, they are also scouting around, as they often do, for what they believe to be ways in which Ukraine defends itself. And if the United States has no backbone to defend that area, and the West through NATO, or whichever country wants to step forward, has no courage to make sure that that defense that you pay for is protected, they're wasting your resources in the process and killing people. So we have to do all we can to make sure that um, that people are paying attention to the war as it is still unfolding. We are on day 1,000. What did I say here in the chat? What's the title of today's? Because after a while you lose track of where you're at. 1,455 days full scale war, 4,381 days since the Russians began their invasion in 2014. And for me, 1,409 days full scale war. I live here. I don't leave. I don't take vacations. I don't take days off. When days off are required, basically rest a little bit more. So that's the situation there. I'm going to be looking through the rest of the morning to see what information evolves from the West because it's not done yet. We had attacks in other areas, including I've seen that um, there are still reports chattering on Telegram in Ukrainian, so I'll have to basically take the time to make sure that those are translated, and we will not be done with this. In fact, the whole purpose of creating more of a platform over here at Substack is in order to make sure that we have dynamic coverage as the rest of the world goes back to sleep. Nothing like a cool drink on the throat when you wake up. We will have some. Okay, I already have scheduled for this week. Colonel Morris Davis will join us on Thursday. He was the Chief Justice of Guantanamo Bay until he quit and basically fired the admiral above him, if you will, when Admiral Stephen Haynes said that there would be no acquittals in the torture cases. A man with integrity says that's not how justice works. And I interviewed him originally in May 2010, 16 years ago, and he is running for office as one of the many military voices that has experience and integrity at the same time. So we'll have him on. Say good morning in the chat if you don't mind, so I can see that you're busy and active and paying attention. Thank you. If you don't mind, please. Thank you. And we will have, of course, the Friday report with Shaun Penner. And I'm going to have something in between. We've just been trying to get some scheduling, trying to get some scheduling conquered with some friends who are very busy trying to do things at the same time. So I know that, if not tonight, definitely tomorrow, we will have that. And then we will have good morning. I see that we have more friends joining in. It is early. It's 7:38 in the morning here in Kyiv. Sun is coming out. It's actually very, very cold right now. The temperature this morning is 8 degrees Fahrenheit. Good luck. Or minus 14 Celsius. So, as you see again from the air raid map, currently air defense is still active both in Chernihiv, north of us, because of drones, and in the west, especially as you get to Lviv and Ivano-Frankivsk, and they're hunting. You know, I remember when the F-16s were announced. For instance, I could tell where they thought the F-16s were stored because they were hunting around bases that exist in the West, and often simply do not know where those things are. So,
Уважно слухайте повідомлення Департаменту з питань цивільного захисту Львівської облдержадміністрації. Увага! Говорить Департамент з питань цивільного захисту Львівської обласної державної адміністрації. Громадяни, відділ повітряної тривоги. Усі вернутись до місць роботи або проживання. Допоможіть у цьому хворим та людям похилого віку. Будьте готові до можливого повторного нападу противника. Завжди майте з собою засоби індивідуального захисту. Уважно слухайте повідомлення Департаменту з питань цивільного захисту Львівської облдержадміністрації. Увага! Говорить Департамент з питань цивільного захисту Львівської обласної державної адміністрації. Громадяни, відділ повітряної тривоги. Усі вернутись до місць роботи або
so trying to pull up a couple browser items here. The warning came from yesterday. We had not just Zelensky, but the accounts that are very frequent here for Telegram for the Ukrainians to see what's happening. We're announcing that over the next 24 hours, we would see a full-scale effort to destroy the energy infrastructure, especially with the temperature still dropping. And they went up above freezing for a few days, but they're now, as I just said, 8 degrees Fahrenheit and minus 14 Celsius, which is exactly when they've already been striking this year. Compliments to DTEK and the DSNS services that work to make sure that the electricity and support systems for the people here are active. And we have had a pretty good run of electricity. And we can tell that Russia is not very happy with the situation at the front after the communications failure from the removal of Starlink. I was on text with some good friends who were both doing combat medical aid in the southeast and actual combat in another southern area, and I asked how they were doing, just one to one with them. How are you? How are the guys holding up? The energy was a little bit more productive, I should say, or better than before. Confidence in each other, they said. Just so you know. Headline from yesterday: Orban accuses Ukraine of trying to influence Hungary's election as Marco Rubio goes and stands there and weighs in on the on the Hungarian election. So why are we talking about what the Ukrainians are saying? Viktor Orban is using the American weight of Donald Trump and his autocratic aligned allies in America to sway the election. And the fact that Marco Rubio stood there like an idiot. I mean, history is judging these folks, you know. Um, Stood there while he says this, while Orban says, we stand on the ground of common sense. First off, I hate when anyone says that the reason why they know something is common sense. That means there are no facts. That means we're just going to assume this idea of common sense. We live in a time where there is no such thing as common sense at this point. We are in a chaos mode. We are in cognitive warfare period of time. And so, common sense. Anyway, this should not surprise us. The president of Ukraine and Ukraine will be active participants in these elections, and we must defeat them as well. Alleged that Kyiv is financing his political opponents from the ruling Fidesz party. I assume that's how you pronounce that. We know that there are finances to our opponents, and we know this is happening without providing any evidence. But he says if Donald Trump had been president of the United States, this war would have not have happened, and if he were not president right now, we would not even have a chance to end this war peacefully. Donald Trump has done nothing to end this war except demand like a toddler to get a Nobel Peace Prize. He has actually stripped aid and upheld aid, held aid, I should say, and intelligence, and messed around the entire time. We're at over a year since he's been in office. The significant drop in support from America and the transactional nature of weapons supplies, especially into the Pearl program, have been devastating on the situation here. But it actually brings up something really good to notice about Ukraine. Is what Ukraine did was went full active into self-production. I see generators are firing up outside. On February 7th, Orban described Ukraine as enemy of Hungary and argued that Kyiv should not be allowed to join the European Union. He has also claimed, without evidence, as he's done before, that cutting energy supplies from Russia could lead to higher utility costs for Hungarian citizens. We know who you work for, Viktor Orban. You work for Vladimir Putin. And we should remember that not only with him, but also Robert Fico, as I wrote in my report last week, the corruption reports are out. And let's see here, the title of that, if you will. Thank you for your patience on that. On my Substack post, let's see here, where is my corruption report I put out? Because I filed it last week. I have a few different writings here. Who's actually corrupt? The numbers Ukraine's critics do not want you to see. Hungary is the most corrupt member of the EU. Its numbers continue to decline. If you look at the um, Transparency Corruption Index model, their numbers under Viktor Orban, an autocrat, continue to decline. Same thing with Slovakia, continue to decline. The United States continue to decline. Russia just stays at the fucking bottom and yet still continues to decline. However, Ukraine has been on the uptick for over 20 years, but it's specifically since 2014, and that matters. So that is the situation report right now. Again, you see from the current air raid map, we are not done with this attack. I'm going to sign off for now, and we will see what's happening a little bit later. Thank you for tuning in on short notice, and we will keep you posted on what's happening. And then, of course, later tonight, very likely, we'll go live with some interviews and definitely have some interviews scheduled for tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday. See you soon.
Уважно слухайте повідомлення Департаменту з питань цивільного захисту Львівської облдержадміністрації.